Hi, my name is Talha, and this video that you're going to watch, if you are a beginner in programming, then this might be the most important video that you would see. Because in this video, we are going to talk about a concept which is loops. So in loops, you have for loops, the famous one, you have while loops, and you have until loops. Okay, so the syntax is a little bit different. It varies in different programming languages. But the purpose of the loop is same, and that is to multiply a single statement as many times as you want. So for example, if you have to echo I love LinuxHint 1000 times, you are not going to write echo statement 1000 times. It is easier to have a loop that you basically use to loop a single statement 1000 times. Okay, how does that sound? It's interesting. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to give you a demo of each loop, like for loop, for while loop, and the until loop. Okay, we're going to do a single example, and then I'm going to explain to you each line. You can say that line by line, I'm going to explain to you the code. Okay, so without further ado, let's jump into my computer and let's code. Alright, so here on my screen, you could see that I am right now in my desktop directory, okay? So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna nano my hello.sh script where we have this case statement, okay? Which we do not need right now, okay? It's done. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna erase it quickly. So first of all, we're going to do while loop, okay? So in while loop, you necessarily have a condition, and then you have something inside the while loop body which you execute, okay, over and over again until that condition becomes false. So let's go ahead and let's do an example about while loop. So first of all, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to define a variable. Let's call it number, and let's give it a value 1. You could give it any value you want, okay? And then, of course, you have to give a condition that varies accordingly. So once you have defined the variable, now what you're going to do is that you are going to write a while keyword, which necessarily initiates the while loop. And then you have these brackets, the big brackets, and remember to keep spaces between where you are going to write condition, because in Bash, I have explained to you previously that if you do not give that space, it's going to cause an error. So here inside the while, I'm going to have a condition which is going to say like, let's say I write here number, which is a variable, and then I write here less than 10, let's say. Okay, so I write here number, and then I write here hyphen LT, which represents less than, and then I write here 10. So once I've done that, now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to write here a do keyword, and inside here now I can echo something. So let's say I'm going to echo here number. So here is the thing, that here you can see that on my screen I have number variable which has a value of 1. So for example, if I close my loop right here, which I'm gonna do like writing here done, okay, if I write here done, then this while loop is complete. But it's not complete yet because it's gonna be infinite, right? So if you could notice that we have a number variable which has a value 1. And if we talk about the variable number, what we are doing inside the while loop, we are basically echoing the number variable. And if we keep on doing that, the number value is always going to be 1. Okay, we are not incrementing here. So what's going to happen that it's going to execute that while loop over and over and over again. Okay, so it's going to be an infinite while loop. So we need to do something so that it could be finite. And for that, what we can do is that we can increment this variable. And in order to increment, what we can do is that we can write a statement right after echo. We can write here number, all right? And then we can write here equal sign. And then after equal sign, we can write here a dollar, and then double brackets or double parentheses, you can say, give a space, because I've told you that if you do not give a space, it's going to cause an error. And in here, I'm going to write here number plus 1. So what's going to happen that this statement is going to execute and it's going to increment the number by 1. Okay, every time a while loop runs, the number is going to be incremented by 1. So first time it's going to be 2, then it's going to be 3, then it's going to be 4, then it's going to be 5. Okay, so stuff like that. So let's go ahead and let's save it and let's run it. And let's see that if we could basically get the result. So we hit enter, we run our script, and you can see that we've got the value from 1 till 9. So now I'm going to explain to you the code that why we have got this value. So if I go inside my script, here you can see that I have a variable number which has 1 value. And now the cursor comes down and it executes the while block. It checks the condition, 1 is definitely less than 10, which is true. And then it executes this. Okay, so it prints out 1. And then it increments, so now number becomes 2. So it comes down here again, comes up here again, and here it checks 2 is less than 10. Then it executes, it prints out 2, then it increments it again. So now it's 3. So this process is gonna happen until the value becomes 10. So when the value becomes 10, what's gonna happen that it's going to check if 10 is less than 10. Okay, if you can do the simple math, you can tell that 10 is not less than 10. It's equal to 10. It's gonna break the while loop. Alright, so it's only going to execute the while loop until and unless the condition doesn't become false. So if I do something like, if I write here, let's say LE instead of LT, so it means that the number value is less than or equal to 10. In this case, this condition becomes true because 10 is less than or equal to 10. Okay, it's not less than, but it is equal to, right? So now if I save this, if I go back here, I run my script, you can see that now it has printed it till 10. Okay, so how simple was that? So now let's talk about until loop. So until is exactly the opposite of while loop. All right, so what we're going to do is that instead of having here while, we are going to have here until keyword, and then we're going to have a condition. So while loop executes, it keeps on executing until the condition becomes false, right? In the until statement, it keeps on executing until the condition becomes true. Okay, so it's exactly the opposite. So for example, here, if we write here if we write here until, and then we write here a condition which says greater than or equal to, right? So number value is 1, right? So 1 is greater than or equal to 10. This condition is false, but until loop is going to execute it. It's going to execute until this condition becomes true. When the number would become 10, the until loop would break down. So now if I just press Ctrl O, I go here, I run my script, and you can see that I have got the result from 1 till 9. Strangely, if you go inside the script and if you notice, so here you can see that the condition is actually false, right? And it keeps on executing until loop until it becomes true. So that's how simple it is. Okay, so now let's move on to the third kind of loop, which is essentially a for loop. Okay, so in Bash, basically there are 2-3 ways to write the for loop. And let me show you an example that how you can write a for loop. So there is a conventional way of writing for loop that is popular and that is been done across all the platforms. That is a very, very, very simple statement. So what you're going to do is that you're going to write here for, you give brackets here, and then inside these brackets, what you're going to do is that you're going to define a variable I equals 0. And here, these brackets are actually double parentheses, okay? So you write here I equals 0, then you put a semicolon here, and then you write here I is less than 5, let's say, and then you put a semicolon here, and then you write here I plus plus. I'm not sure about this spacing, but let's do it anyway, and let's see if it works. So now we write here do, and then we write here done, and whatever we would write here inside, it's going to be executed. So let's say we write here echo, and then $I, which means that it's going to print out the value of I. So let's say if I press Ctrl O, if I go here and if I try to run my script, here you can see that it has printed out from 0 to 4. So if I go inside my script again, here you can see that it starts from 0. Okay, so the value is 0. It comes here and it checks the condition which is in between. So 0 is less than 5, which is essentially true. Then it basically prints out 0. Okay, then it comes back and now it would increment the value. I would become 1. It would check again. I is less than 5. It's true. 1 is less than 5, and then it prints out 1, and then it moves forward, so on and so forth, until it comes to a point where I becomes 5. Okay, so now 5 is not less than 5. This statement would become false, and now it would get out of the for loop. That's how simple it was. Now there is another way to write the for loop, and that is basically, let me show you here. So you change the first statement, and let's say that you want to print out numbers from 1 to 5, let's say. So what you're going to do is that, let's say you write here for I, and then you're going to write here in, and then you're going to write here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so you write here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now it's going to take each number and it's going to iterate through the for loop each time. So now if you save it, you go back, let me just clear it, and then I'm going to run my script. Here you can see that now it has printed out from 1 till 5. So there is another way to write the for loop in this way. So let's say you want to print out numbers from 0 to 20, let's say. Okay, so there is a short way to do that as well. So let me show you. So instead of having here from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like putting every number individually, what you can do is that you can put brackets, the middle brackets, and inside those brackets you're going to put first number, which is essentially the starting point, and then you're going to put dot dot, and then you're going to put the ending point. So what's going to happen that it's going to consider everything in between as the part of the for loop. So let's do this, and let me show you that how it would work. So here you're going to write here starting point, let me just and then you're going to have 2 dots, and then you're going to have here ending point. So let's say I want to start from 0, and then I would have 2 dots, and let's say I want to go till 20. So now if I save this file and if I run my script, you can see that it has printed out from 0 till 20. So that's how simple it is. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to nano the hello script, and inside here what I want to print from 0 to 20. I want to print all the even numbers, let's say, or all the numbers with the difference of 2. So what you can do is that you just need to write here double dots right after the ending point, and then you're going to write here the increment number. So in this case, I can have here 3, I can have here 4, 5, 1, whatever I like. So I would write here 2. This is an increment number. So now what it would do, that it would print out every number after the increment of 2. So for example, if I want to print out, if I run this script, for example, what's going to happen that it's going to print out 0, then it's going to print out 2, 4, 6, 8, so on and so forth. So let's go ahead, let's run this script, and let's see if we are right in our concepts. So we go ahead and we run our script, and here you can see on the output it's 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, so on and so forth till 20. Okay, so that was it from this video. I hope you have enjoyed it, you have learned something new, and if you are not subscribed to our channel, please do so. Click the red button, hit the bell icon so that you can get the notification, and if you really like the video, please hit the thumbs up button. Okay, and if you have any questions, please ask us in the comments below. Until next time, see you.